the Boys isn't afraid to be incredibly disturbing and to set up a lot of contradictions. I mean, including with the sort of neoliberalism of the Boys, or not of the Boys, but of the Seven themselves. They talk a lot about sort of like how they have to present a sort of diverse front, and one of the more pronounced examples of that is when they sort of as a reaction to the sexual scandal of the Deep, who has to confess publicly and go off to Ohio, they create a sort of like campaign that's called "Girls Get It Done," and they sort of show how this kind of corporate facade of feminism is really, really cynically employed by corporations and states to sort of cover for really doing nothing to address patriarchy. And in fact, they're like the very people who are covering up for the men who are doing all these crimes. It really shows a lot of those contradictions in a way that I was surprised to see in a show, because I feel like these shows are getting like, I don't know, maybe I'm naive, so I don't watch a lot of this shit, but like it seems very, very savvy. It seems like on top of a nuanced vision of feminism that isn't like a really flattened sort of Me Too vision of it, but actually sort of complicates it and sees how capitalism actually makes a sort of feminist movement like Me Too very, very tricky because of the layers of power that are sort of expressed within that. So I thought all that was really, really smart.
Yeah, I would say, I think I tweeted this once, but it's a genuinely left-wing show, and it's genuinely critical of a lot of the structures of American society. I mean, I think the one problem that I would say, I think it's a little bit too cynical in some way. It's a little bit too pessimistic, a little bit too sophomoric in the sense that, it's almost like no one has good motives, kind of. I guess the main character, Huey, played by Dennis Quaid, and Meg Ryan's son, I forget his name. Let's just call him Petey Quaid, is kind of a good-hearted character. But, everyone is basically incredibly cynical. And we should actually at some point talk about the boys themselves who were forced to adopt the Seven, but the people going against them. But I mean, I think the show is genuinely left-wing in its critique of American contracting, defense contracting, and its critique of American militarism, and its critique of capitalism, and essentially says, that corporations are just duping you, and they're just lying to you, and they're not here to protect you. They're here just to protect their bottom line, and when that fails, they're here to protect themselves. And of course, it links this very much the structures of American modern capitalism, I mean, very, very clearly to fascism. So the main guy in The Boys, the sort of somewhere across between Captain America and Superman, is this guy named Homelander, who's this blonde-haired, blue-eyed, essentially psychopath who needs to be loved. And I think it's, but Homelander is just, everyone is so scared of him because he's so powerful, and he's essentially just a pure psychopath who just does what he wants when he wants, has no regard for human life. And I think that is what they're ultimately saying. Homelander is the literal physical embodiment of the contemporary United States, which the creators of The Boys, the writers of The Boys, are essentially saying is a fascistic, militaristic, anti-feminist, anti-poor society. And so it's pretty amazing that it's on Amazon and this major network, and that also might highlight this sort of the contradictions of this or the limits at least of a critique from within capitalism, which is something that